Welcome to Transparent Convos. Here, we are hot. That's what you'll expect on this channel. Honest, open, and telling the truth. So if there's anything that's going to be shared today, please, y'all, come on. We're not gatekeepers. We're going to take all this information. We're going to use it to benefit us, and we're going to use it to share it with somebody else. So share, like, and please subscribe. Because when you subscribe, when I add new content, guess who's going to be the first one to get the content? You are, absolutely. So let's get with it. Let's talk about the word that's becoming very relevant. And it's a word that we're not talking about enough. So let's talk about it. Menopause. What do we know about menopause? Well, there's not a lot we know about menopause because unfortunately, we didn't have the language. Our mothers, grandmothers, aunts, all the beautiful, wonderful women in our lives, they just did not have the language for it. Believe it or not, y'all, I don't even know if you know it, but I've done my research. There are three doctors in particular. Dr. What is her name? Mary Claire, Sharon Malone, and Lisa Mosconi. Lisa Mosconi is a neurologist, and Dr. Sharon and Dr. Mary, they are OBGYN doctors. So they've done a lot of research. I've followed them very closely. I'm very familiar with all of their different platforms and their information that they put out. So most of my research have come from them, as well as, of course, the wonderful thing, internet, and some books. So let me tell you how this came about for me. Last year in May, 2024, in May, I woke up middle of the night to go use the restroom, went to go use the restroom, came back and started feeling like I was having like a shortness of breath. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what is going on? And so that kind of went on for a little bit. And if you know who I am, you've watched me enough, you know that I love me some Jesus, right? So I went to praying and it, kind of subsided. Finally, I fell asleep, woke back up that morning. It happened all over again. Well, this time, now my heart is beating, guys, so hard. I could literally feel my heart beating in my head. And I'm like, oh no, what is this? I've never, 54, at the time, 53 years old, never have I experienced that before. And I was like, oh, can't do this. What is going on? So then I started having like a hard time breathing. And so it was just like going crazy. And I was praying and I was confessing his word and I was telling the devil he was a lie and all of the wonderful things that we can do spiritually. And then I was getting hot and then I'll get cold. Then I'll get hot. And I was like, okay, God, what is happening? And so that went on, y'all, off and on about, I try to feel like forever, but I think it was about 15, 20 minutes. And so finally, my daughter was at home. Finally, I text her and I was like, take me to the urgent care. So we went to the urgent care. On the way to the urgent care, which was maybe about not even 10 minutes from my house, between 5 and 8 minutes from our house or whatever, went to the urgent care, guys. And I was feeling like kind of normal, but still feeling scared. So they did an EKG, they did blood work, all kind of stuff. Checked my blood pressure, all of that. Everything came back fine. And I said, what is going on? Something is not right with this. And so I took, my family was like, you need to, just rest. And, are you stressing about anything? What you got going on? And was I stressing about something at the time? Yes. I didn't think it was like crazy stress, but I was. And so anyway, after doing some more like sitting with God and trying to figure this thing out, it just wasn't coming to me. It wasn't clear. So my body, I started experiencing things in my body, abnormal feelings. I have never had like no type of sickness, illness, disease, nothing like that. Thank God. I'm so grateful for that. But now all of a sudden I'm starting to feel all these like things going on in my body. Like I said, abnormal feelings. And I'm like, what is this? So I got scared. Did I immediately go to the doctor? No, I did not. And so I just kind of kept pushing through it. Of course, I would talk to my husband about it, talk to my girls about it. That was pretty much it because I didn't really have nobody else that I was like, no, my best friend, I was talking to her about it a little bit. And so it just wasn't happening, guys. It just wasn't coming through. And so I went before God and I said, Lord, I seek your wisdom. Please help me understand what is going on with me. What is it that I need to do? Is there anything that I need to do? And so, y'all, it just was so clear to me, calcium and magnesium. And I was like, okay, what is that all about? So I went to go research calcium and magnesium. And I'm just saying, y'all, don't talk about me. Don't come for me. Don't judge me. I didn't really move on it. And I was like, I don't know why I didn't. I honestly don't know why I didn't, but I didn't move on it at the time. And so one night, I woke up in the middle of the night to go and watch a replay of my pastor. Never did make it to him, y'all, that night. The first thing that came across my YouTube feed was Dr. Mary Claire. And it was talking about menopause, what to eat during menopause. And I'm thinking, girl, what is that? So I just clicked on it. Being very clueless, had no clue what I was getting into, right? She started saying stuff and I'm thinking, oh, this is some of the stuff. She started talking about menopause symptoms. And I'm like, y'all, my antennas raised. Like, what is this? She started talking about calcium. And I said, wait, God, wait, hold on. What is happening? So I just started taking in all this information. Excuse me. So then I started to look for more information about menopause. And I'm thinking, I'm in menopause? So let me tell y'all what's so funny. I would say maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. I don't remember how long ago it was. It's been some years ago, a couple of years ago. My youngest daughter said, Mom, are you going through menopause? Like, do you even know, like, are you experiencing menopause? And I was like, girl, no, I'm not experiencing menopause because I don't have hot flashes. Never had hot flashes in my life. So all of y'all out there, I'm so sorry for you to have that experience. That is not my experience. Thank the Lord. And so I was like, girl, I ain't never had no hot flashes now. I guess, thank the Lord, honey. He didn't favor me. He didn't pass me right on by. I had no clue until Mary Claire. And I said, oh, there's way more symptoms to menopause than hot flashes. So then that's when I found Dr. Lisa Mosconi. She's a neurologist. So she's talking about from the brain perspective of menopause. Whew. I was like, oh, this is making a lot of sense. So anyway, after a lot of research, a lot of reading, a lot of spending time with God, I was like, ma'am, you had a panic attack. That's what you had. And so anyway, so my body kept experiencing all kind of different abnormalities. And so that's when I said, I need to get it together. I needed to go to the doctor. Went to the doctor, sharing some things that was going on with me with my doctor, and loved the doctor at the time. She's no longer my doctor. She just wasn't saying anything that had nothing to do with menopause. Anxiety on 10. Guys, it had got so bad for me last year, 2024. My thoughts were horrible. I had it felt like I had no control over me. I have never experienced that before in my life. Like my thoughts would be so horrific there were many nights, several nights that I was scared to go to sleep, thinking I wasn't going to wake up in the morning, that I was going to die in my sleep. I could be driving down the street thinking I'm having a good day, minding my own business, and this thought would just overwhelm me. Don't go over there, because if you go over there, you're not going to make it back home. And I'm like, God, what is happening? And so anyway, again, so I go in the presence of God and just started to seek his wisdom and guidance and some direction to understand what is going on. I still did not equate it to menopause at all whatsoever. I was like, am I under spiritual attack? Like, what is going on? And some of it could have very well been spiritual attack. I'm just saying, y'all, it could have very well been. However, that's when I really had to go all in, full force to figure out, God, what do I need to do? And so that's when I started to get some scriptures, got some scriptures, surrounded myself with his word. So if you're familiar with the Bible, in Ephesians 6, it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and darkness and spiritual wickedness in high places and all that kind of stuff. And so I began to really research that. So that's why I was thinking, okay, this is a spiritual attack then. And so now I got to put on my armor. You have to put on the breastplate of righteousness and all that. I don't have the time to go through all of that. So your spiritual garments when you're under spiritual attack. And so then there's another one that talks about cast down every imagination, every thought that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bring that thought into captivity unto the subjection of Jesus, of Christ. And I said, that's it. That's it. It's our thoughts. Whether you're under a spiritual attack, whether your anxiety is on 1,000, guys, you got to surround yourself with all things positive. Think on things above. That's what Paul says. Things that are lovely and pure, and things that are admirable and honorable. Think about good things. That really does help. So I created a list of scriptures that talks about fear and all that kind of stuff. And so I just started to quote scriptures. Whenever my thoughts got bad, I said, the devil is a lie. No weapon formed against my thoughts, my mind, and my body shall prosper. Every time I had a bad thought, every time I started to feel something in my body, I began to pray, no weapon formed against my body, no weapon formed against my thoughts, my mind. I have the mind of Christ. I literally, and I still do it. It's not nearly as bad as it used to be. Like, because I'm kind of more in control and kind of understand what's going on with me now. That's where all of this came from, which gave birth to SHEpause. SHEpause, you'll see on other episodes that I have posted. SHEpause is our version of menopause. I removed men and added she. That's what I believe. I know God gave me that in my heart. And so let's talk about menopause. For those of you who are not very familiar about menopause, so first is perimenopause. Perimenopause is what we experience. It can start as early as in your 30s, all the way through your 40s. And that you'll start to experience some of the menopausal symptoms. And however, once you go into the menopause phase, that is after you have no longer had a cycle for at least 12 months. Now you're considered in a menopause phase of your life. Menopause never goes away. I hate to tell y'all that. It does not go away. Can it get better the older we get? Yes. I've done a lot of reading and research. They said it can get better the older we get. So let's just do the best we can, guys. So let's talk about estrogen. So what happens is when we go into menopause, we lose estrogen levels, right? And estrogen is a group of hormones primarily responsible for the development and function of the female reproductive system, as well as other key aspects of female health. Estrogen helps maintain bone density and can reduce the risk of osteoporosis. During perimenopause, estrogen levels fluctuate, leading to irregular periods and other symptoms. Keep that in mind, ladies. As menopause progresses, estrogen production from the ovaries declines significantly, causing symptoms of menopause. So perimenopause, 30s, 40s. Menopause, typically after 45, pretty much around the 50-year mark, right? So postmenopause is after. So let's talk about hysterectomy and menopause, because you no longer have ovaries, right? So it's like, how am I going to know if I'm in menopause? Well, what I've researched is you're going to go into menopause whether your ovaries are still in place or whether they are removed. Whether in the state that they are being removed, if you no longer have ovaries, your menopause with hysterectomy will kind of speed up the process. Your menopause process, basically, is what I've read in my research, right? So you're going to experience menopause. A lady asked me, because I've talked to several ladies since I've been going through this journey. And one lady said to me, well, how am I supposed to know if I'm in menopause? You're going to have the symptoms, period. Point blank, period. That's just how that's going to go. Some of the ways that menopause can affect us, guys. Impact on our teeth. Because once we start to lose estrogen, we lose bone mass. We're going to get to that whole thing in a minute about our bone. And so, of course, they suggest hormone therapy, the HRT pills or whatever. To each his own. Do I take them? No, I do not. But let me share this with you. My doctor, she shared with me that she was on hormone replacement therapy medication, right? She said, I'm just going to tell you, Mrs. Jones, I felt like I had a brand new body. Like, I felt absolutely amazing. I said, this got to be the best thing ever. Until her cycle came back. And she said, oh my God, what has happened? So she removed herself off of it. So it didn't work for her. Maybe you don't care. Maybe if your cycle starts back once you get it, take the HRT medication, then, maybe you're like, who cares about me having a cycle again? I don't know if her cycle was heavy. I didn't ask, further questions or whatever, but it didn't work for her. And again, to each his own. And I've done my research, and I've also read and have heard one of the doctors mention that if you are a breast cancer survivor, they do not recommend you take the HRT medication. Okay, so that's something to look into. So let's talk about our doctors. Doctors are just now coming into more knowledge of menopause because as I've done my research, it states that for a doctor to get their MD, their doctorate degree, they only have about 6 to 7 hours of classroom training on menopause. Well, these 3 doctors, they went and did their own research. They was like, because they're starting to go into, some abnormalities with their bodies as well. Dr. Mary Claire, she closed her OBGYN practice and opened up like a menopause, I can't remember the name of it, like a menopause clinic in whatever state that she's in. And so I think those clinics are starting to be more prevalent now. More people are starting to open up those clinics, which is going to be very helpful. So let me give you a little history. 1942, first estrogen product was introduced. Our reproductive hormones affects most major organ systems in our body. Can you believe that? That's why we got to get a hold of this, guys. We got to get our brain wired for this to get as much information we can to help us out. And so, for years they was talking about, oh, y'all crazy women are, maybe you thought your mom was crazy, your grandmother was crazy, your aunt was crazy, whoever, the older woman in your life. And it's like, no, they weren't crazy, nor are we. This is real. And so our brain needs estrogen the most. That's why we have the anxiety and the panic attacks, because our brains need estrogen. And now we no longer have the estrogen levels that we used to have. And so something else I want to share with you, one woman brought to my attention. On her job, she worked around a lot of men, right? If you work on a job and maybe your boss or your counterparts, your closer counterparts are men, I know this is going to be an uncomfortable conversation, but ladies, come on, we got to get this together. We got to share with them what's going on with us. So if you come to work one day and you all over the place and you, a little moody, or you popping at people, a little snappy or whatever, people need to know what's going on with you. And possibly if they are married, their wives, if they're, of 50 plus, maybe their wives are experiencing it. And so maybe they're kind of familiar with what you have going on. But just in case, if that's not the situation, stop being uncomfortable. We got to open up and talk about this thing. I have come across women, y'all, and I'll talk to women about some of my symptoms and ask them about some of theirs, and they kind of like closed mouth. And I'm thinking, why? Why are you embarrassed? What are you? I'm sharing you what I have going on. Like, I'm a very transparent person. That's just who I am. And it's like, because I believe in, if I've experienced something, a challenge, adversity in my life, why would I not want to share that with you? Like, I literally want for you to learn from my experience. Now, everybody's experience is not going to be the same. Come on, guys. I get that. I understand that. But if I've experienced something and I've overcome it, that's the key. Once you overcome it, share it. Just share it. Like, what's wrong with that? And so anyway, let's keep going, because I can sit there forever. And so I say, do not suffer in this silently. Like, get somebody that you can trust, somebody that you can talk about it. Come. I welcome you to this channel, Transparent Convos. I'm going to have a lot of episodes about menopause, perimenopause. I'm going to be interviewing different ladies. I'm going to be interviewing men so we can educate them, interviewing husbands. Like, on this channel, we're going to talk about it. And as much Detail, as much information as I get, I'm going to pass it right along to you guys. That's why I want you to share this information. Don't keep it for yourself. Share with your friends. Share with your coworkers, whoever it is, share it. Share with your daughters. They can be under 30. They need to know because they need to be prepared for it so they'll be better prepared for it than we have been. Vitamin D and calcium is necessary when we're going through menopause. We need it for our bone health, bone strength. We need the calcium. So let me tell you some natural ingredients that I've researched that can increase estrogen. One is soy, tofu, soy milk, soybeans, flaxseed, fruits, apples, berries, grapes, peaches, and plums, and other fruit, obviously. Vegetables, I'm not going to name everything. Come on, y'all. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, green leafy vegetables, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, greens, really good for us. We need nuts and seeds. Exercise. Let's talk about exercise. So your girl over here, I went out. I went to the doctor. Some of my numbers were a little elevated, so I needed to get my exercise in regardless, right? But at the end of the day, we need to exercise more. We need cardiovascular exercise, a little running, a little cycling, swimming, whatever you can do to increase your blood flow. Because once we start to lose estrogen, I've also researched, it can cause our muscles to tighten. Like I said, osteoporosis is prevalent during that time as well. So that's why we need to build our bone mass, which comes to a segue to me talking to you about light training, weight lift training. I've even started to incorporate that. Like we got to get all that in because we don't want to walk around here when we get older with the bent over back or whatever. We got to do our part. We got to do our part. It's our bodies. It's our responsibility. Who else is going to be responsible for our bodies? Let me tell y'all something real quick. That was real funny to me. I saw someone post not too long ago. They said, I wish I can drop my body off at the gym and pick it back up when it's ready. Listen, I 100,000% agree. And I guess what I commented and said on that post, I said, how much is that gym membership? Because I'm on it. Honey, I'll take my life savings. No, I'm just kidding. So light training is highly recommended. Lightweight lift training is very highly recommended. So I would say incorporate that. Some supplements. Black cohosh, an herb that has traditionally been used to support hormonal balance. I have not tried it. I'm just sharing with you some things I've researched. Anything that I've tried, I'll let you know. Red clover, a plant that has traditionally been used to support hormonal balance. DHEA are hormone produced by the adrenal glands that can increase estrogen levels. So those are some natural ingredients. I already shared with you some foods that we need to incorporate in our daily diet to help us to fight against inflammatories that could go on in the body, such as berries. Like I eat berries every single day. I'll mix my berries, not blackberries, not raspberries, or to get it together. I will mix my strawberries, blueberries, and kiwi with some plain non-fat Greek yogurt, drizzle a little honey on top. Absolutely delicious. It kind of helps with my sweet tooth as well. So let's talk about some of these symptoms. Because once I share some of these symptoms, you're going to be like, oh, maybe I am in the middle of menopause. Remember, menopause is 12 months after your last cycle. No cycle, menstrual cycle, no period for 12 months. You're in menopause. Brain fog. Y'all know we can't halfway remember nothing. That's called menopause, y'all. It ain't called you going crazy. It's called menopause. It's called menopause. Hot flashes. That's the one most people know about. Depression. There are days where I can literally be having a great day, sitting there, minding my own business, surrounding myself with all positive things. And literally, this darkness can come over me and I'm just feeling sad, feeling like I want to cry. And it's like, I'm telling you what I go through. It does not feel good. I told you I've learned different methods to control it. Sometimes if it feels really, really heavy, I'll get up and go exercise. And 5 minutes into my exercise, I feel back normal again. I'm just telling you what works for me. I can't tell you what will work for you. You just have to try different stuff. So I'm sharing as much as I can share, guys, with you because I want us to get past this. We're going to experience menopause. There's no way around it. Every woman will experience it, unfortunately. So because we can't get around it, we need to learn different methods that work for us. So it can help us maintain and manage those abnormalities, those things that don't feel good in us. It will help us manage it better. More symptoms is heart palpitations. I talked about that. Hair loss. Weight gain. I've talked to a lady. She cannot lose weight. She done been on Ozempic, y'all. Did not work. She's exercised. She's tried to eat right. Anxiety. Most women that I've talked to struggle with anxiety. Headaches. I get like little mild headaches. Not every day, y'all. It's not every day. Nothing for me to panic about. But I'm just letting you know I get headaches. So if you just get these random headaches and you're not hungry or you're not fatigued or whatever the case may be, menopause. Difficulty concentrating. Elevated cholesterol levels. Let's put a pin there, guys. If you have never really struggled with cholesterol issues, it can happen. That's part of menopause. When we start to lose our estrogen, our cholesterol can elevate. Brittle nails, dizzy, breast soreness, body odor, constipation, dry skin, irritability, joint and muscle aches. Ooh, I have that. I have that way more often than I want to. I won't say it's every day, but I do have it. And so if that's something you're experiencing, I do know a lot of ladies that have experienced that as well. Libido changes. Just saying. I know a lot of women, that's a struggle for them in menopause. Oral gum issues. Going through menopause, one of the things that they have detected is that it can cause you to have gum inflammation. Y'all, this menopause ain't no joke. I'm trying to tell you. Sleeplessness, fatigue. Yeah, I get fatigue way more often. And I'm eating good and I'm exercising and still get fatigue. Loss of estrogen can cause bone loss. I've already shared that. Vaginal dryness. Recurring urinary tract infection. So if you've been going to the doctor and you feel fine and they do some blood work, your lab work come back and you have had a UTI several times, they're linking it to menopause. Like I said, this is very unfortunate. If there are any men watching this, please share this with your wife, share this with your daughters, any woman in your life. Please share it. Just because you're a man does not mean you don't need it. And guess what? You need it. Because you are going to come across your mom, your aunt, your grandmother, your somebody who's in menopause, and you're going to need to understand them and understand how to care for them better, how to be a little bit more attentive to them and not thinking that they're just attacking you. It's not personal. This is something that every woman in your life is going to experience. So guys, this is the end of what I have to share with you today. Please, oh please, oh please, oh please, I beg you to come back, to continue to follow me. I'm not on this channel. I'm not just talking about menopause, SHEpause. I'm not just talking about that. I'm going to talk about marriage. There's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. So come back, join me again. I really love you guys. All you ladies are so beautiful. I love you so much. We're going to win at this menopause thing, perimenopause, postmenopause. We are going to win. We're not going to be silent, nor are we going to sit in silence. There has to be at least one woman in your life that you trust, that you can share what goes on with you. When you're having some bad days and you're not understanding it, Now I've given you some information to try to understand what's going on with you better. You're not crazy. It's called menopause. Thank you so much for giving me your ear. I love you with everything on the inside of me, and I want you to win. Do not go through menopause alone. I'm here for you. Make a comment and I'll reach back out to you if there's something you're confused about, something else you may want to get more information on, more questions you may have for me. Reach out to me. Send me a comment. You can follow me, all things Arnda. Why do I not remember? All things Arnda Jones. That is my name on TikTok as well as Instagram. Facebook, my name is Arnda, Arnda Jones. Follow me, inbox me, reach out to me. I'm here to help you as much as I can. I don't know everything. Let me put a disclaimer here. Should have said this in the beginning. I'm not a doctor, nowhere close to being a doctor. I have had some challenges with my body and it just did not sit well with me. And I did my own research to figure out what's going on with me. Because again, like I said, we're responsible for our own bodies. It's our bodies to take care of. Let's steward our bodies the best way we can. Come along with me on my weight loss journey. I'm going to be sharing more videos about my weight loss process and what I eat and what I don't eat. The substitutions that I've made from unhealthy to healthy options. Stick with me. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you giving me your ear. Thank you so much. Until next time.